Welcome back, everybody. Yards After the Catch podcast. It's been about a week, but it's been a busy one. I got my friends back, Mark, and a new face with us, Cam. Cam, introduce yourself. How you doing, bro?
All right, how y'all doing? My name's Cameron James, and I'm just here on my boy show.
Yeah. So
we got,
who's your team, Cam? Who's your team?
I am a diehard Steelers fan. Yes,
yep.
yes.
We got two in the on the roster, so we're making deal with it. We're doing the best we can. But yeah, plenty of steel to go around. You know what I mean? We got a really hot week this past week in the NFL in the offseason. The headlines never cease to exist. We got the Josh Jacobs arrest, the Myles Garrett trade, the AJ Brown trade, Russell Wilson hanging it up, going to CBS, and the Nick Herbig contract, courtesy of our Pittsburgh Steelers here with Cam and with Bars. So without further ado, we'll hop right in. We'll just kind of talk some of the topics and whatnot. Last week, busy week for Josh Jacobs up in Green Bay. If any of y'all haven't heard, he turned himself in May 26th. The original arrest for battery and domestic abuse was on May 23rd against his girlfriend slash fiance. Going into his 8th season, this is a really tough spot if you're the Green Bay Packers. It's a huge headline for the offseason with Josh Jacobs and his arrest. What are your guys' initial thoughts? I know the reporting's been a little scant. They're still waiting speculation in terms of what the league wants to do in terms of a suspension, as well as any disciplinary action from Green Bay. But what were y'all, just surface level media reactions?
Idiot. What are you
Yeah.
doing, man? Like, why is this such a problem with the NFL? I just don't understand it. Like, domestic violence, just, PEDs, like people can't get out of their own way. And it's disappointing to see because Josh Jacobs really did kind of seem like a stand-up guy up to this point. And at this point in his career, 8th year in as a running back, like that's going to be hard to come back from. I mean, if he gets suspended this season at all, I would see him going down the path of like Ray Rice or like at the best like Kareem Hunt. Like, it's going to be a party reputation wherever you go, whatever you do, and it's a shame. I don't have any sympathy either, and it's just a blow for the Packers. I mean, you look at the Rams loading up now, and your division is really strong, and you might not have your bell cow back anymore just because of stupidity, really. So it's a shame.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in on that. I agree with everything that you said, Mark. I think we need to realize how serious domestic violence is. I mean, like you said, we saw that Ray Rice video and we saw how bad that was, right? Josh Jacobs, not only it was the domestic abuse, but also criminal damage to property. It's all these charges, and you got to think. You are a public figure. You make $48 million on a 4-year contract. What I'm saying? Like there's a level of responsibility behind it, and we also have to also realize that how different people are brought up, we'll never understand that, right? I mean, look at Antonio Brown, right? The moment he signed that contract, just a bunch of stuff happened, right? And the guy who was hanging out with him was telling people, he's been on his own since he was a teenager, right? So when they get a level of money, we don't know how people are going to act, right? And many times when it's also who you're around, right? We got to also understand who you're around does influence your choices and decisions. And you have to understand if you're around somebody that makes $40 million, you're not going to always tell them what they're doing right or wrong. Whatever they're doing, you're going to allow them to do it, right? So it's kind of like you also got to check the people around you. I mean, you got all these charges, and we know how troublesome a lot of players get, especially in the league. And you got to just question just who they're around, and also realize that they're not brought up how you think they're brought up. Money does change everything. It changes everything. Most of the time, you won't tell that person no if you're hanging out with them all the time.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna leave it like that, and it's very disappointing. And I think as the rules are getting stricter, a lot of stuff are getting eliminated, and a lot of things are getting noted, and it's going to lead down the decision. As a running back, you got to realize you don't have that much chances in the NFL. It's very slim. They're getting young running backs. I believe the average is 22. You're lucky to even hit 30, right? Saquon,
Oh,
Derrick
yeah.
Henry, right? You see those guys, but you see Derrick Henry making an investment. He's not making an investment on BSing. He's making an investment on still trying to be the best player and also taking care of himself because he knows he's getting older. And you don't find many running backs in their 30s. So he got to realize he can get replaced. And it's a lot of fresh blood always coming out of the draft every single year. So
Yep. Great points, man. I think he's not really, fortuitously understanding that like Green Bay is the second contract because Raiders kept pushing it off into the 6th year. They franchised him twice. They kept him, hanging around until they got Genty. So having that deal, like that was his big contract, his big second contract, which a lot of running backs don't get, like you said. It's hard to make it past 4 years, I think, which is like I think the average running back lasts 2.5 years, 2.5 seasons. They're very
yep.
quickly replaceable. We've seen a lot of issues like Melvin Gordon and other, running backs trying to get that second contract that get a little too over their skis with their negotiating power. But things extracurricular like this definitely don't help your case, especially when they're not forced. As of the 27th, just locally, he was released from jail. OTAs have been ongoing as scheduled, according to LaFleur and everybody inside the Green Bay Packers organization. So we will see. We'll keep an eye on things and kind of give a follow up as things progress. But it's just it's kind of unfortunate because he is such an integral part of Jordan Love's next step and what they want to do offensively with LaFleur in that organization, and they really rely on keeping pace both in the ground game and in the offense with the NFC North. Yeah. Any final thoughts before we hop to the next step?
Yeah, real quickly. Did they discuss like what are they gonna do with regarding that punishment? I read that just now he just went back into practice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he's in
Uh
OTAs as regularly scheduled. The league and the franchise, the organization will have the opportunity to basically address it, and if they want to press like any kind of penalties and stuff, but they won't actually press charge. He's been released from jail.
well, it's good. It's good. It's going to be interesting, right? Because I think now it's gonna come down to if the Green Bay starts off bad, is this going to be a distraction, right? That's going to be a discussion, or it could be a success, right? A success meaning that they build momentum and they just have a trailblazing 3 or 4 games, right? Just winning it in a row. Then you also got to realize as a running back, your reps are going to get split. They always get split, but you not being there completely now opens doors for other people to take your spot, and your spot might not be there. So you got to understand if you get suspended, now when you get back, the pressure's going to be on you. And if you play bad, guess what? And that guy's been playing good for these last 3 or 4, maybe 6 games. Guess who they're going to keep? They're most likely going to keep him and have him with most of the reps. So he's got to realize if you're going to come back, then you got to play really good. And that's the thing about it. So I'll leave it like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the depth chart too, Chris Brooks is a backup running back. He might get more touches. Obviously, he's young. He's looking to be kind of the next backup there to get some more touches. Yeah, we shall see. But the meat of the episode tonight, what we wanted to get to was obviously, unless you're living under a rock, you've already heard about it. The Myles Garrett trade was a blockbuster. Rams go over the top. They get Garrett. They absorb his contract, his existing 5-year deal, 178 mil. Browns in exchange received Jared Verse, huge blue chip piece. 2027 protected first round pick, 2028 second rounder, and a 2029 third round conditional pick. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I want to leave it to you guys to kind of just fill the commentary here. What a freaking huge storyline. I mean, this changes the whole league.
Yeah, I mean the best defensive player in the league finds a new home. And while it does seem like it kind of came out of left field, like we've been talking about this for a while, and then it kind of got deadened a little bit when he got that contract extension for whatever it was, 40 something million. And yeah, it just kind of reminds me of the Von Miller trade that the Rams did back in the day when they won the Super Bowl, I think in 21. They grabbed Von Miller and he kind of put them over the top. And it's kind of strange because I think they were already the NFC favorites, and I think this just like resoundingly like appoints them as the NFC favorites going into this coming season. And it just kind of goes back to their whole like F them picks mentality, because I think they kind of backed away from that for a while, marked by the drafting of Jared Verse, like their first round pick in forever, and they nailed it. And they nailed it enough to turn it into the best pass rusher in the league, and arguably one of the best of all time. So you got to give credit to Les Snead. I mean, he's turned this team around, and not that they were ever really that bad. I mean, they've just been drafting really well, and then they used the assets they gained, and they got an even better asset. And it's just I don't know, nothing but props from me. And yeah, they're going for the Super Bowl again, and unfortunately for Mr. Verse, he's going to be spearheading a rebuild in Cleveland because that's what they're looking to do once again, I guess. And it's kind of hard to keep a guy like Myles Garrett around if it's just not turning into much, I want to say. And he was definitely a little disgruntled, I think, going into this last contract extension. So it makes sense. And I think, Cleveland's going to get shat on paper, but, they want to turn the page. And I think they've seen what they got with Myles Garrett, and they're ready to move on, clearly.
Yeah, I agree. The moving on is important. I'm actually happy for Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
First of all, what he's done to Cleveland, his position, we won't see that for a very long time. Okay, all the records he broke there. Like, me as a Steeler fan, I couldn't stand the Browns, but I respected him as a player because he made it known that that's his kingdom. But he's going to LA? Are you kidding? You sent him to LA? Do you realize the damage he's gonna do there, right? The offense is good, but you put him on defense, and if the plays he's done in Cleveland, if he could do that in LA, are you kidding me? Yeah. They're gonna be way more dangerous. They're good, but I think now we gotta look at them as a little bit. You gotta look at them as great. Yeah. They got a defensive star, right? An offense, they got Matthew Stafford. By the way, Matthew Stafford, since being in LA, he's had a success. I mean, we've seen what he went through in Detroit. You got him, you got the head coach, and we've seen what he's done. He already got 2 rings, and he's lost 1. You had a 3rd one in there. I mean, they might be good for a very good while. You know what I'm saying? And Stafford was also talking about, I don't mean to keep bringing about him, but I do like him. He's a great quarterback. I give him so much respect. And I'm pretty sure him having Myles Garrett there, it gives him more, less pressure, to even think about it, but just know Myles Garrett's going to do the work. But my point of it is, Stafford is coming back this season, and having Myles Garrett, he said that this might be his last season. So if they go to Super Bowl, I say he should just retire after that. And if Myles if he just decided to retire, I wouldn't blame him because he's already done everything. I think the goal for every player is to get a ring, right? At some point, we're already seeing certain players go to certain teams because the goal is to get a ring. Like, we know records are easy to break, it's all, but every player wants to get a ring. I'm sure Lamar, with all them MVPs, will trade one of them in for a ring. Yep. So I think that's it. It's the chip. That's what that's why players are joining other teams, because they see the potential. And I think with him on there, who are they playing first game, by the way? Because that is going to matter. Let me see.
Yeah, it's a great point, too, because you look at the arc trajectory of like any superstar in the league. They get drafted by a shit team. They last about at least a contract and a half, maybe 2. And then they finally get to, a happy destination if they're fortunate enough to get a championship or a taste of one.
Yeah, because that's the goal, right? And I'm glad you said that, right? Because a lot of them come in, and the first thing is to get that big fat contract, right? Get paid. Once you get paid, now it's like, okay, I got paid. Records are great. Where's the ring, right? And then, like you said, it comes down to discussion, right? Max Crosby was about to go to Baltimore because he saw what they might need. They seen them make it far, but you know what? I mean, I'm pretty sure, Alex, you're happy to have him back on the Raiders. I'm pretty sure happy about that.
Fucking heart attack, bro.
Yeah, But Mark, I don't know if Alex told you, but earlier I was just telling him, I was like, I guess I saw on the internet, Aaron Donald's been kind of trolling on the internet, and he was talking about making a comeback. If you add Aaron Darnold on it, and by the way, if he wants to go to the Rams, like call them and be like, hey, I'm coming back. I think his contract, there's something about it is still running. He got something going on with them if he wanted to come back anyways. But if you add him to the picture, are you kidding me?
He's got the money at trickle going.
You got Myles Garrett on the right and you got Aaron Donald on the left.
Oh, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
He's going to be like Jordan in the second go around. It's like even when he comes back with the Wizards, he's still putting up 20 and 6.
And they still got like Byron Young and Braden Fisk.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
I
didn't even talk about them, but
yeah,
now that you mentioned them,
they're stacked.
I love Verse as like a future piece, kind of the anchor of that defense. But again, we talk about Kobe Turner, we talk about Byron Young. I mean, this defense was perennially in the top 10 across every statistical category, the defensive categories across teams in the league last year. And we talked about them, playing in the NFC Championship. If they were to, able to get back to their, to the top of the mountain, what would it take on defense to do so? And you saw that Seattle game, and I think they're going to have at least 2 more chances to see what Seattle's going to bring if they're going to repeat and meet them back up there. I think that's what they're kind of measuring themselves against. But this is the easiest way to ensure that you're going to be back in the NFC title game and hopefully the Super Bowl, because you're maxing out the last year, guaranteed that Stafford is going to be running the helm. McVay, he's got all the pieces lined up.
Yeah.
And I think, and to be honest too, I mean, before we get into Cleveland side of things, I think that this really works out across the board as sad as it is for Cleveland. Like getting 3 picks plus Verse is insane.
Verse
is good.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
Good player.
Yeah.
Underrated, man.
We should also talk about that some other time, because Cleveland, I mean, they gotta. We'll talk about it later because I can go on and on about that.
Well, we're gonna transition to Cleveland, but before we do, I just want to mention a point of order too with the sunsetting of this contract with Myles Garrett. He's got 178 million span over 4 years. There is a major salary cap hit that goes against the luxury tax for LA. It starts at 8 million in 27, and then in 28 and 29 it goes balloons to 14 and 21 as conservative estimates. So that will be something to note with a salary cap league, how they're going to kind of transition at the latter half of that contract. But it will be something point noteworthy, especially if they start to reclaim some of that draft capital back too.
I'm just gonna say, listen, I'm happy for him, but I'm also happy he's in LA. Please keep him in the NFC. Please keep him there. I ain't trying to think about him AFC. I'm just I'm good. I'll watch him over there.
Yeah, he's done terrorizing you for a little while.
Oh man, because it was always the discussion. It was the TJ and Myles Garrett discussion, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but they were kind of like, it was a post, and they were kind of just defensive player of the year. We know how that discussion goes.
We give a little love to Max too, oh boy.
Yeah.
Now being the resident Pittsburgh fan on the show, how do you feel about your team now that he's kind of out of the picture?
Well, Myles Garrett?
Yeah, with your team.
I love it. I just told you I love it. I don't got to think about that, man. Let me tell you something. on offense, let me tell you something. He's that man. I've watched that man do some stuff to our offense. Like, if he's on that end, just know he's going to cut right through that line and get whoever he needs to get. Great player, and he was the only person I thought about. Now that he's out, I'm so happy. I'm happy. That's all. I respect him as the player, though, but still.
Oh, hell yeah. The Rams, they must be the Super Bowl favorite, guys. Yes or no?
I'm going to say NFC favorite.
Yeah.
But
no doubt.
Probably Super Bowl favorite too.
Most likely, maybe they can get the maybe number 2 or number 3 seed. I'm gonna call it. Maybe they can land in there. Maybe if they put the pieces together. And I'm just gonna say it because if also Aaron Donald come back, because by the way, he is 35. By the way, so if he wanted to make that comeback, he can. He's not too old. If he let's just say if he does make it, if he does go in there, just decide. No doubt they should win it all. Maybe potentially, but. They are looking like they could be the potential NFC, champs.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what they bought it for.
I'm gonna be interested in see how Myles Garrett, how his stats are gonna be. If his stats are what they were from Cleveland to LA,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be a problem.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's hop into the AJ Brown trade. Patriots obviously make a blockbuster deal, reuniting Vrabel with AJ Brown from the Tennessee days. Eagles receive the first round pick in 2028 and also a subsequent fifth round pick in the 27 draft. Eagles are expecting about a $16 million dead cap hit for this year and then $27 million in 2027. But it seems like the last chance we had to talk about the Eagles from the regular season into the playoff before the playoffs. This feels like addition by subtraction. What do you guys think about this trade?
I will say for the Patriots side, I think it's a big upgrade in that wide receiver room. I mean, you just got to keep this guy happy. You're going to have to feed him. You're going to have to keep him in check and make sure he's not pulling the antics that he was in Philly because I'm not going to lie, it got a little old towards the end there. And yeah, it's they had to do something else. They couldn't have just signed Romeo Doubs and like cut Diggs because it's like Romeo Doubs is not going to carry a receiver room. But like we knew the June 1st cap implications. That's why they waited till after the draft, until June 1st to address this. And Vrabel's used to him, and there's an opening at X receiver for the Patriots, and for a young quarterback like Drake May, like this is probably as good as it gets. And it's really just a matter of keeping this guy happy, making sure he's not disgruntled. And yeah, for me, it's like, would I have loved the Bills to get AJ Brown? Yes, but I'll take DJ Moore. I think he's just a little more steady Eddie and maybe not as talented, but he can do a lot of the things that AJ Brown can do. And it's gonna, but for the Eagles, it's gonna be a huge test for that offense to finally see what that offense can do without him in the room, because he does draw so much attention. I mean, he's a freak. He's a one of the top 10 receivers in the league, probably. And I know he's been kind of in the background a little bit, just like maybe not getting as many targets as he should be. And just having a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, who, as much success as he's had, he's not an amazing passer. Like he's not as precise as, as a Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or that tier quarterback. So it is going to be interesting to see his transition to New England, back with Vrabel being seemingly the guy. I mean, I think they're going to feed him, and being in the same division, it's a little scary. It's not the most ideal thing for a Bills fan, but see what happens.
So I'll say this, right, with the AJ Brown, with the AJ Brown, I'm actually glad, okay, he went to another team. He was a distraction for Eagles. And let me tell you something. From what I was reading and from what I saw a clip, he was venting or talking about his frustration with his Eagles while playing. I guess he was playing PlayStation and somebody recorded him. And if you're discussing or even just making a comment and it's obvious that like it's showing frustration, people are going to spin it and they're going to just make it out of a big distraction. And I felt like it was a distraction. I kept hearing it, just AJ Brown and his, it was just a lot going on. Now that he's with the Patriots, I think for Drake May, I think that's good because last year we saw I was really paying attention to those last two games, the AFC Championship and Super Bowl. We know Drake May could play, right? But he had no key players. He really had nobody to pass to. Stephon Diggs, they brought him in there. He didn't do much. He only had 5 yards for the whole entire Super Bowl. I mean, in those games, you gotta play explosive, right? That's the expectation.
Not a playoff player at all. Diggs.
And that's unfortunate. But I think with Brown, I think he will be a threat. It's gonna be very interesting to see the connection with Drake and him and how that's gonna be. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting to see how the defensive backs are gonna handle him, right? It's gonna be interesting because we know Drake, he can pass. We also know he got a little footwork going on because we see how he sealed it with the Broncos, right? Um, it'll be interesting. That's all. It'll be very interesting, and we're also going to see with all these different players. I'm going to be interesting to see how good are their stats going to be, right? We know that they can play. Now that you're with this team, you're with pretty much winning teams over 500. How are you going to play, right? I know Myles Garrett. He was with the team under 500, and now he's with the team over 500. How he's going to play? Brown. He was with the team over 500. I'm sorry, the Browns were under 500, but you guys get it. Brown is with the team over 500 in the NFC. Now he's in the AFC. The question is going to be is he going to play explosive, right? So, I'm just happy now he just doesn't have to keep talking about the Eagles. He can now move on and just start fresh and just play. So,
Yeah, all great points. I mean, once you get more into the weeds too, I think we'll have a very clear picture about like how good this team is with AJ Brown, by maybe the fourth week or so, because they start out with a gauntlet. They got to go to the Super Bowl champs for a rematch the first night of the season. Then they play Pittsburgh at home. They got Jacksonville, who's a playoff team last year, and then they go to Buffalo. So right there, you got four tough games right off the bat. Yep, belt to ass, Mark.
but I also just want to say. I also just want to say it's also good for the Eagles because also they can move on and they can continue rebuilding. I think I've watched Jalen Hurts for a while since like college, and I love his attitude. He's used to making adjustments. He's not. I think he's a good quarterback. But my point of it is now they can move on. He can move on, and this discussion now it doesn't have to be talked about. Just everybody can start fresh. I mean, listen, Brown got a ring. Okay, he got what he wanted out of the Eagles. Yeah. Now he got to try to get a ring with the Patriots. So now the focus is now on him. You know what I'm saying? Like it's with the Patriots, but now, I think the thing of it is people are, the goal is to get a ring, and then once you have it, now it's just, getting another one, but getting with the right team. So now the question is going to be: can he get another one? And is the Patriot the right team for him?
Well, yeah. I mean, I know Philly's very excited about Mekhi Lemon. They drafted him. So
yeah.
And
I forgot about that. Yeah.
And you still got Devontae playing second fiddle.
That's right.
So I got
Hollywood Brown, Goddard.
They got Goddard.
Yeah. Barkley. Come on, like they still got dudes. Like
they do.
And it's hard when you have diva number one wide receivers, especially coming off the season, because you're trying to force feed him when you have a recipe that works. We know what happens when you give Barkley the ball, when you stuff it down their throat, when you make things happen in play action. So if they can get back to that formula and they don't have to worry about force feeding AJ Brown, making sure he gets 9 touches tonight, they'll be fine. They can unlock some of that rhythm that they used to have with that offense. That's kind of my take on things. I think if Vrabel's going to fix his behavior, it's going to happen early, regardless of the schedule. But I think you'll know before the second half of the season. And again, with this contract, he's got $32 million on this last year of his deal. He'll be a free agent in 2027. So if it doesn't work out, I mean, New England has all the incentive to make it work because of what they gave up a first and a fifth projected. But it's only 1 year. It's 1 year salary. So if it's going to work, it's going to be like a Randy Moss situation to a lesser degree. If it doesn't work, it sucks, but you're still not out in the woods. So I think for them, the sky's the limit. With Vrabel, do you think, gun to your head, do you think this works? Do you think he can turn around AJ?
I think it's work. Yeah. I just think that it's not just Vrabel, it's Josh McDaniels too. And I think you mentioned Randy Moss. Like, look at what he did with Randy Moss. Like, he's just very good at getting the most out of these guys that he knows he needs to feature. And, he's gonna feed them until the defense does something to address all that production from AJ Brown or Randy Moss or, Demaryius Thomas from the Broncos. Like, he's worked with a lot of good players. And, once you start focusing on Brown, that's when he goes back to a Demario Douglas or Kyle Williams or Matt
Protect.
Collins, like it just opens everything up. So just his presence alone is going to help the Patriots. I think really the main thing is just he's got to be happy and he's got to be quiet. And I think Vrabel is probably the best guy to get that out of him, I'd say. And I hope Vrabel handles his own business too, so that's not a distraction.
AJ Brown's not married, right? He doesn't need marriage advice.
I haven't.
Dirty bird. Keep it in the.
I agree with Mark on Vrabel. I think we're also realizing, right? I think the Patriots, they had a very good defense last year. Their offense is struggling. So it's going to be interesting to see how many points they could put up this season, right? They put some low points up in that playoffs, y'all. I don't know if y'all seen it, but I was watching it. They weren't. It wasn't impressive. The defense was. I'm gonna tell you this. The defense was playing so good. Um, when you're on that field constantly, you just get tired. I think that's what it was. I think now that AJ Brown's added to this piece, we should see the offense run it up. We should see him make great plays, make the plays as expected. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to pay attention to see how that offense, how that pass, goes. And it's going to be interesting to see if the Patriots O-line, right? There's going to be expectation behind them, right?
Oh yeah.
Give Drake May time to make that pass to Brown. That's going to be interesting, y'all, because if you have a bad O-line, your offense is just gonna stink. And then guess what's also gonna happen? We also got to keep in mind these players sign contracts and sometimes injuries happen. So keep that in mind. Injuries happen even with trades. So
Yeah.
We're gonna have those players that we don't expect to be injured, and that's gonna be the question of who and who isn't, and who might be injured at a time where they shouldn't. So
Yeah.
we got to keep that in mind. You can have all that, but that injury kicks in. It kicks in.
You never know.
Yep.
Good stuff, gentlemen. I want to transition to another curtain call for another person who has terrorized a few of our teams over the years. Russell Wilson is finally hanging it up, heading for TV at CBS NFL Today. He'll be replacing Matt Ryan in the studio next to the crew. And, just reflecting on, kind of his time, he's expected about a $2 to $6 million contract per year with signing with, but nothing's been finalized yet with CBS. But, before we kind of give our thoughts about like kind of what you remember most about Russ's career, just want to kind of give a little bit of his accolades. Obviously, Super Bowl 38 champion, 10-time Pro Bowler, NFL Rookie of the Year, 5-time all-time passer rating, 46,000 passing yards, 5,500 rushing yards, Man of the Year 2020, top 5 in all-time in touchdown to interception ratio. But obviously, we saw the decline in full display after he left Seattle. But what will you remember most about kind of his career, and what were your original thoughts on what the announcement was?
Great as those accolades all sound, man. I'm just gonna remember him how he flopped on the Broncos, dude. Like I hate to say it, but like,
yeah,
I feel like he kind of started to overvalue himself towards the end of his tenure in Seattle. Not that he wasn't like he was. I think it was 2020 was maybe his last year in Seattle, maybe 21, but like
21, I think.
Yeah, he was having a great year. Like he was in like the MVP conversation, and for some reason he was butting heads with Schneider up there. And I know Denver wanted to get Aaron Rodgers, and that didn't work out. So then they pivoted to Wilson. So it was like this guy that like probably overvalued himself too much at his ability to really carry a team. And then you had the Broncos who were like, I guess we'll go for Wilson instead of Rodgers because like we know Rodgers is the better quarterback compared to Wilson. But yeah, I just think for such a hot start to his career, like winning the Super Bowl in the second year, winning the Rookie of the Year, really being able to benefit and just function easily, playing off the Legion of Boom, just one of the best defenses of our lifetimes. Like and just, undersized, but had big hands and just really has a cannon of an arm. I mean, I will say his moon ball is like one of the all-time moon balls, I'd say. Like he can really throw a deep ball with anybody, but it's, everything else in between, and then he kind of, when he got to the Broncos, that athleticism is starting to dwindle and he can't lean on that as much. And I mean, they took like the biggest dead cap in league history to move on from him.
Massive. Yep.
And then, he had some good moments in Pittsburgh, but they liked Fields too, and they didn't want him back after 1 year. And I think the Giants didn't even need to sign him last year. It's like you have Jameis Winston in the building, and like you were targeting a first-round quarterback. Like I just didn't really understand Russell Wilson for the Giants last year, and I thought if he did return this season, it would have been like just kind of like cringeworthy, honestly. So I think this was the time to go. Maybe a year too late, potentially, but I will respect, he was part of that 2012 read option wave where you had Luck, Wilson, RG3 just all entering the league at the same time, and no defense really was ready for it. And he leaned on his legs and his big arm and his great defense. And you have Pete Carroll too, steadying the ship, and they got great value for him in the third round out of NC State, or Wisconsin. I forgot which one he ended up.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, he was at both, but
he was Wisconsin.
So
he did great there. By the way,
he's a stand-up guy, just a little corny, and I think just it was time for him to step down. What do you guys think?
So I'll say this, right? With Russell Wilson retiring, it is about time. All right, it is about time. I think after the Giants, I think that was it. I couldn't figure what other team he was going to go to. He wasn't going to go to the Jets. I just couldn't see it. I kind of figured he'd retire. But I will say this, right? I will definitely remember Russell Wilson mostly in Seattle just from how he played. I mean, we got to also just remember he's the only quarterback in NFL history to record at least 40,000 passing yards and 5,000 rushing yards in a career. So we got to understand, right? The modern quarterback today, he definitely did. He is a part of it, right? When we saw Colin Kaepernick, we saw Russell Wilson, right? During those times, we saw what they could do, right? And we got to remember, as Patrick Mahomes, when him throwing and running, Russell Wilson paved the way for a lot of QBs, just how the style it should be today, right? Obviously, his style weared out, but at that time with Seattle, that style was working, and a lot of people were paying attention to it. Jalen Hurts gave him recognition 2 years ago when he was in Pittsburgh. Told him, hey, listen, you're the reason why. Not the reason why I'm playing, but you played a big part in why I'm a quarterback. So we gotta understand he did pave the way for a lot of QBs just with that style. Just in Seattle, him and Pete Carroll was such a success, right? With Marshawn Lynch, even though I heard they weren't the greatest, right? But the way they played, you couldn't tell.
Yep.
Right? The Legion Boom and Richard Sherman, they did so much in Seattle. We gotta realize playing them, just hearing them play other teams, it was dangerous because we know the damage that they were doing, during that era, around that time. I think it became an issue when, people were talking about Russell Wilson a lot, right? Like you said, he was in line to be MVP. He was as a black QB, it's starting to rise now, but at that time, it was just getting there. So, it was crazy attention. And you got to understand, like I believe, what was his height? He was short. He was 5'11". We got to remember something. His height, dudes that are 5'11", you don't hear them playing quarterback. So he was dealing with his height, and a lot of QBs, I think most of them the average is 6 foot or above.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 6 or 2 easy.
6'2", yeah. At
least.
Yes.
Yeah. So he was already, the chips are already against him, playing that position, and he played it well. When it was effective, it got him a ring. He has nothing to be ashamed of. Okay, he has plenty of awards. If we can go over it, Super Bowl champion, Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year, Pepsi NFL Rookie of the Year, second team All Pro, 10-time Pro Bowler, NFL pass rating leader, NFL pass touchdown leader. Seattle Seahawks top 50 players. He's done everything, right? He's done everything. I think he has nothing to be ashamed of. Even though I was a little disappointed in him when he was in Pittsburgh, because don't think I'll ever forget. We were 10-3. We were 10-3. We just finished beating. I think the biggest game when he was in Pittsburgh, the biggest game that I enjoyed watching him was when we played the Commanders, and y'all knew how hot Jaden Daniels was playing,
Yeah.
like just coming in. He was coming in hot. So just beating them by a point, I loved it. It was just when we just started losing, and it was discussion on Justin Fields. I actually feel bad for Justin Fields too, by the way. In that
Oh, me too.
situation,
He got a raw deal.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's messed up. I couldn't understand till this day. I couldn't understand why Pittsburgh kept him in after going 10-3 to now 10-8. Losing 5 games in a row. I don't know the reason behind it, but it was just the way he went out in Pittsburgh. I was a little disappointed because I was actually gonna buy a jersey, y'all. Like if he just got us a good record and maybe win 1 or 2 road games, because everybody been saying, "Oh, Pittsburgh been struggling on the road or just struggling on the playoff." Just the wild card. We struggle on the wild card. I've heard it so many times. I'm just waiting for that curse to be broken, and I thought he was gonna do it, but fortunately he didn't. And the fact that we lost to Baltimore, when he was playing, kind of hurt. But you know what? It is it is what it is. But like I said, I respect him. He played good. When we saw him play. So I'll just leave it like that.
He was upright.
Yeah, I hate losing to Baltimore. That's the worst, man.
Well, not only that, but it was just John, the Harborough, great coach. You had Henry, you had Lamar. You had them, and that's all you seen. And I think Derrick Henry had a great game on us. That wild card, I think he cooked us like maybe 100, 200 yards. I don't know. I just knew he scored in that game, and that's all I need to know.
Mark loves Lamar.
I love the Ravens.
I love them. They're great. The one thing I'll remember most about him, not unironically, but honestly, it was kind of tragic, was the Malcolm Butler pick in the Super Bowl. Obviously, it wasn't his fault. It was Pete Carroll's call. You could tell by the way he was chewing his face off with that fucking gum in his mouth. That was not Russell Wilson's fault, but you take the brunt of that regardless, because then that divided Marshawn. He was out the door, and then it was Russell Wilson's team officially. The other thing I do remember, ironically, was the Subway commercial, the "Let's Ride" shit from Denver, because that stuff was so funny, and it literally had the meme on repeat for weeks. I'm like, oh, this is good.
Let's ride.
This is good.
Wait, what team? What team he said that with?
It was a Denver.
That was a Denver thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why he had the when they had the football and he's taking pictures. Yeah, he was like Bronco Country. Yeah, I remember that.
They did him dirty in that post.
Oh, do you remember the TikTok when he was talking about unlimited? And he kept saying it.
Dude.
The unlimited.
Such a cornball, dude. You remember when he was in Seattle? He got a contract extension and he's laying in bed with Ciara, and he's just like got his hand around her, and he's just like, Seattle, we got a deal. Like, dude. Shut the fuck up, bro.
Yeah, that shit was cringe. I think she's the only reason that he did end up going to New York for 1 year. You could tell. You could tell his heart wasn't in football. I think she had other entrepreneurial shit going on. But he also set himself up for New York for CBS. I'm sure he had inroads through the season. Sure. There was no way he wasn't working on that. The last thing I will say with him that I remember, especially just in the grand scheme, the big picture of things, his impact going from baseball to football, I think, was huge. You look at guys like Kyler Murray, Mahomes, they could have gone either way. They chose football. I think, Russell Wilson preceding both of them kind of gave them kind of a benchmark to be like, okay, this is possible. I can really make more money and be a bigger superstar, even with a helmet versus playing in baseball in a small market. I think he was kind of a big catalyst for getting guys to choose football over baseball that were multi-sport. And fun fact before we move on, there was another guy we talked about earlier that was actually dual sport. Can you remember who it was?
Talked about earlier.
Who got drafted to the MLB too? It was AJ Brown.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Drafted by the San Diego Padres 2016. How about that?
What position did he play?
He attended spring training. It doesn't say exactly. Outfielder.
No shit. That's
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't know.
So I looked up, right, and I'm glad we're having also that discussion just real quick. A lot of the players that they balance football with MLB, so it's very interesting, right? A lot of people want to know the reason why they're able to just be so well with both. We got to just also remember that certain skills like hip rotation, elite hand eye coordination, and throwing mechanics,
Yeah.
those are skills. Just working on that for baseball, and it's during the spring, you work on that, and it just keeps your mind focused. It's no different
Yep.
from throwing a football at the same time, like skill wise, so I just wanted to put that in there. It's so interesting just from those three things that I just wanted to tell y'all about. That's why they also just keep that in mind, and they're able to be good
Yeah.
at both.
Yeah, 100%. The last thing I want to hit tonight before we sign off to the folks at home, I wanted to hit Nick Herbig, the contract extension for your Pittsburgh Steelers, 4-year, $100 million extension, 42 guaranteed up front. He's perfectly positioned right in that top to 10 to 12 salary range among his competitor set of edge linebackers in the league, which is a great comp. He's only 24 years of age. Really came about last year when he logged 7.5 sacks. He got unreleased and moved on the line after being behind TJ Watt for a few years. But I want to just kind of give Cam the floor to kind of think about what this means to you. How do you feel about this contract?
That's a big contract. We gotta understand he got drafted 2023. Okay,
Yep.
they're throwing 100 million at you. I think this is what, because 4 years and then they can, okay. Well, anyways, having 100 mil thrown at you and you only been in the league since 2023,
Crazy.
is a lot. And what he's done in Pittsburgh, him and TJ, I mean, listen, the man earned it. I just hope it doesn't change anything with TJ, because I've heard people say that he might get traded, or I hope not.
No,
I want to keep. I hope they can keep TJ. But with Nick, I mean, that's great. It is a big deal, right? I mean, there was things going on also with Darnell Washington, right? There's he had his going on. I mean, this is great. Pay them. They work hard. Nick work hard, and playing that position. I mean, that's hard, right? It was TJ, now it's Nick, right? You got two guys that got the big money, highest paid. You know what I'm saying? So it was great. He earned it, but we got to now see. Listen, you got the money. Now the question is, are you going to stay consistent? Is this going to make you better, or is this going to be a curse to you where something happens, which God willing nothing does happen, but we're just going to find out now that you got the money, are you going to continue hitting these numbers, right? Are you going to continue, are you going to be even more better than what you are now that you got the money? Now that's out the way.
And you guys have an old roster, so this is a great blue chip piece to kind of.
We need fresh blood. Yeah. So like
blood.
this is great because I mean, like you said, we have an old roster, and sometimes even wide receivers, we in and out. They get recycled. I've seen it. I can keep going. I got a list for that, but this is important. It's important to reward these players, and especially in that position. And the Steelers known for a defense. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting. We play. They play Atlanta, game 1. It's going to be interesting. Defense is now going to be interesting. So yeah, I'm happy for him. Now the question is though, can he stay healthy?
Keep it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he's 24 years old. So listen, man, just now I just hope he got to just make the best out of it at this point.
Mark, any thoughts, or just kind of?
No, yeah. I mean, I think he's a really good value as a 4th-round draft pick, and the Steelers must really like him because he's been in the league for 3 years, and after 3 years is when you become eligible for a contract extension. So they addressed this right away. They gave him a healthy contract. I mean, Greg Rousseau makes like $20 million a year. So like Herbig making 25, as this might put him above Highsmith at this point, I'd say. You got Watt and Highsmith as the other guys. Like, just this contract number here, maybe they like him more than Highsmith, or they're thinking he is a TJ Watt replacement eventually. I don't know. Ken would know better than me. Bars would know better than me, but
Here, the TJ Watt replacement. We got some of that down, okay? Because
he's getting up there in age.
We got to understand TJ Watt, okay?
All right, Mars.
He's just very he's consistent. Y'all seen it. Y'all seen what he's like. He's just been consistent.
Yeah,
This
when he's
kid-
on the field.
What?
When he's on the field, yeah.
Yeah, when he's on the field, but we see what he's done, right? So I mean, I hope he don't get replaced. Please don't say that. Please don't
I'm just
say
saying
that.
that, like, based on the contract alone, like,
Yeah, I know.
that's a healthy. That's
yeah.
not necessarily like a number two. I mean, I'm sure there's teams that are paying their second pass rusher this much, but like, I wouldn't say it's super common. So it's
Yeah,
he's being paid. He's being paid like the guy. So
No, you're right, but it's like here's the thing, like I mean, you're right. You know what I'm saying? But it's just I don't want to let TJ go, man, because TJ,
no, of course not, bro. I know that.
The what he's done. Because I'm gonna tell you this right now, if he gets traded anywhere else,
Hopefully,
don't do it.
right?
Listen, we seen what we know what Myles Garrett about to do. We know what he's about to do. Okay, and we know them Cleveland fans suffer right now. Don't. But like you said, into thinking about it, I mean, you paid him $100 million. You can't keep, we don't know what's gonna happen because like you said, that's uncommon. So, I mean, I don't know. I just hope not because TJ, he's done so much for that franchise.
They're not paying like Rodgers like a lot of money at quarterback, so like they're saving.
Oh, don't get me started on Rodgers. He
go. I'm just trying to think like, okay, like they're not paying $55 million for a quarterback. Like, there's ways it can work, but it was an eye popping number for me.
Oh yeah,
and I think he's a good player. Like the value they got in the fourth round, like that's insane. Like you don't get pass rushers like this in the fourth.
No, you don't.
The only comp I can kind of compare this to would be Houston with them paying Anderson 50 and paying Danielle Hunter 30, which is crazy. But like that's the only comparison with the two edges.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not super common.
Yeah, you're right. I had to think about that because you can't have two superstars, and then also people forget. I'm surprised you guys even talk about him, Joey Porter Jr. Oh, come on, man.
Well, he's not a pass rusher.
He's not, but I'm just saying in defense, he's been doing good.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I've been watching him for a while. He's been doing good. I know that we don't talk about him because he's not a pass rusher, but I feel like he's still underrated because people still, you know what I'm saying. But y'all pay attention. He's a good player.
No, I like the moves that the Steelers made this offseason. I was like, they're making all these moves in free agency. Like, they have to get some sort of quarterback. It's not going to be just Will Howard and Mason Rudolph. So it was good. I know you're like, I don't know about Rodgers, but, like, I think, like, getting him and bringing in Drew Aller, like, they're trying to make it work. So.
And Pittman, you forgot him. Michael Pittman.
Pittman was a great addition, man.
He's gonna do some work. I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna say that right now. He just wait.
Yeah, I mean DK, it's nothing to scoff about.
Yeah, DK was disappointed though. I'm sorry. He didn't even get 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
no.
And I feel like he should have got 1,000 yards.
Yeah, I agree.
Could have used that one extra game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear blue and purple hair when I go to the stadium next year. I'm gonna moon him with my fat white Irish ass. Hey, like this? Well, the only good promising thing for you guys is you do have a defined pattern and a way to win next year. It's going to be a lot of these low-scoring defensive battle games. You're perfectly primed and set up for that with your division. I did take a quick peek. The top 4 of your 5 salaried players going into the 26th season are all defensive. Most of the guys we talked about, Highsmith, Watt. We didn't talk about Ramsey, but he's on there as well as Patrick Queen. So. It's yeah. So you guys clearly have a formula way to win. We'll see how McCarthy handles that, kind of that difference between the offense and defense. But I think you guys certainly have a direction, and it's nice locking up a blue chip piece on the defense that's young. So,
well, keep in mind the pressure behind McCarthy. If I'm not mistaken, he's from Pittsburgh.
Oh shit! Yeah,
I
he can't
think
go
so.
home. He
Yeah.
can't go home now.
So he can't he can't blow this. Okay, first of all, this is your hometown, number one. All right. Number two, you're the fourth coach ever
Yeah.
in the franchise. Ever. So you have a losing season, knock on wood that we don't, you're gonna be known as the fourth, you're gonna be known as probably the worst coach to start a losing season. Maybe one of them, right? What you're gonna be up there.
You'll be known
So
as the fourth coach and the first loser.
I mean,
Oh, man.
yeah, I mean, to start it off, I'm sure you probably be up there, but McCarthy, he can't mess us up. Because
No.
remember, like you said, he can't come home. All right.
And I thought they should have put more time into the coaching hire because we talked about it ad nauseum in previous episodes. I mean, I thought they had better candidates on the table than a safe, reliable guy like McCarthy, where his ceiling is defined. But I think they'll get 15 years out of him like every other coach they've had before. But they certainly have to tailor the way they build the rosters and the decision. Well, I'm just saying the trajectory of the three previous coaches, they all have 15 to 19-year tenures.
No, he
15
has to do
years would
good.
blow my mind.
It would blow my mind, but I'm just saying it's par for the course with their history.
I don't even know if he's going to live 50.
Here's the thing behind that people don't realize. The Steelers have been, I believe, they've had a winning season for about maybe 20, 24. I gotta do my research on it, but it's almost 20, 24. They haven't had a losing season since I believe 2004 for 2003. I gotta look back because it's been so long. But we haven't had a losing season in a very long time. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. So understand the momentum coming into the season with McCarthy. You're replacing a coach who's never had a losing season. I believe Mike Tomlin's been coaching for about. Please check Alex. I believe it's 19, 20 seasons.
Who, McCarthy?
No, Mike Tomlin for the Steelers.
Oh, he 19 seasons.
19 seasons. Thank you. I was trying.
The last losing season was 2003.
Thank you.
They had 22 consecutive non-losing seasons.
Thank you.
500 or better.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to think of the number. You know how, guys, we getting old. See, I know how far back we got to think sometimes. Like, we know it's in one of them years, right?
20-somethings, they're blowing us away.
One of them years.
Yeah, but we got to understand that the momentum, I mean, the pressure's on, y'all. I mean, listen, he was born in Pittsburgh. This is where he was born and raised, okay? If you blow this, you can't even go, like you said, you can't go back to your hometown. You can't go back to your hometown, number one. Number two, if the Steelers even have a bad year, just 1 year, the fans are going to be fumed and most likely probably get rid of him. Mm-hmm. Did y'all see what they did to Tomlin? A lot of fans online were trying to tell them to fire Tomlin.
They went after him because they thought he was Omar Epps from House.
It's funny. They compared that. They took
oh yeah,
both of them together. They almost do look alike.
What's the over/under that McCarthy bought his mom's house? Probably did, dude.
There's no idea.
I mean, you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, J. Cole, I believe he wind up buying his house that he grew up with his mom, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, but I get what you're saying, but still,
It's a cold world.
Housing market's a cool mistress.
But yeah, I mean, I got to win a couple games, man. Like I got to win like a couple, like starting off in the beginning. I mean, I got him beating Atlanta, but I believe two is in Atlanta, right?
Yeah. Oh, you'll definitely beat him because if there's anybody more hurt than the Steelers, it's fucking two.
I'm going to the Week 3 game against the Bengals, Cam.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. I'm going to be there.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
So I'm excited for that. It's going to be
exciting.
It's going to be a very telling game.
Joe Burrow, I feel so bad for him. He can't. He's been struggling to stay healthy too.
Why? He's banging Mills.
It's the health. It's the health.
I can't with y'all.
Kids,
Joe
cover your ears. Cover your ears. Sorry.
I can't.
Well, on that note, we've had some fun. I appreciate y'all. we'll cap it for tonight. We got plenty more off-season stuff to get to. I appreciate you guys. Anything you want to pop off last second before we sign off for the night?
Follow, like, and subscribe. Yards After the Catch on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify.
Yep. That's it.
I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. And as always, make sure you follow, you like. Supporting is free.
Yeah.
It's free. It doesn't cost nothing to support. So just remember, support is free. And thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys can show up for the next one.
You guys at home, the 20-year-old somethings that we look down on, go take your boomer parents' phone and go hit subscribe. Okay?
Yeah, there you go.
Let's do it. Get our numbers up. Let's check it.
Takes 2 seconds to do.
That's it.
They don't know. They don't have to pay for anything. Guys, thank you so much. We're signing off. I appreciate you guys, and we'll talk soon.
Peace and love.
Peace.